Thanks for joining me here on Tropical Weather Impact on your Friday, July 25th. I'm meteorologist Payton Malone reporting to you from New Orleans here as we've been dealing with our tropical disturbance sending us showers. That's going to continue for the next few days. But here's what we're talking about on this edition of Tropical Weather Impact. We are talking about the latest on that Gulf disturbance, but we're also tracking what could be happening out in the Atlantic. We're talking the main development region as we head into next week and the beginning of August. There's been a lot of rumblings online over the past 24 hours of models waking up and showing the potential for some development out there in the heart of the tropics as we inch into the beginning of August. So we're breaking down all of this and what could be happening here over the next couple of weeks out here in the tropics. This is the latest, though, with our Gulf disturbance. Luckily, no significant changes at all in the forecast. This is still an unorganized area of showers and storms as of Friday morning. That is pushing off to the west. And so eventually this entire disturbance will move into Texas later today. And by tonight, the development chances will be cut off as it moves inland. Now, that doesn't mean the impacts are over. This is mainly just going to be extra rain across the Texas coast, Louisiana, and into Mississippi, Alabama. You can see there kind of a broad area of showers and storms extending from the northern Gulf over into the central northern Gulf here. Last night, you may notice this little spin here that broke off. This was actually a mid-level circulation that developed over here in southwest Louisiana, moved out over the waters. Luckily, it did not organize into anything, and it's already moving inland. And so that's a fairly common thing when you're looking at an unorganized area of showers and storms. You occasionally get these mid-level vortexes that develop within the circulation. And sometimes if it does have enough time, you will actually get that develop, and it will develop into a depression or a named storm. Now, in this case, we are luckily running out of time, and it's been battling wind shear, and so we still don't think it's going to develop much more. There's still an opportunity the rest of today where we could see some gradual development, especially in this corridor where showers and storms are. If we actually get a little core developing, it'll have a couple hours to try to organize before moving inland here somewhere along the Texas coast. And so regardless of depression or not, again, it's just bringing some extra rain, and that'll continue as we go through the remainder of the Friday as it pushes west. Now, winds have been picking up slightly out here in the Gulf. You can see there a fresh breeze coming out of the south here, and so you do have a broad low pressure. It's just not very organized as of Friday morning. So it'll be interesting to watch what happens with this over the next probably 6 to 12 hours. Our high-resolution models show scattered showers and storms continue along the northern Gulf. There is your low pressure trying to wrap up. We'll see if it ever does, and then it moves inland by tonight. Your Saturday, while that feature has moved inland, we still have moisture and instability, and so we will see more scattered showers and storms from Texas into Louisiana. Notice Saturday morning and afternoon could have some heavy downpours around New Orleans, and same thing over to Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle, dealing with scattered showers and storms. By Sunday, we start to transition into a drier and hotter pattern. Now, I still think we'll have a couple storms around on Sunday, but high pressure is going to be moving in at the surface and in the mid-levels. And whenever you've got high pressure everywhere, you're getting heat, and you're getting a lot of heat, maybe some really intense heat at that. And so that'll start moving in later Sunday, and by early next week, this big heat ridge takes over a large portion of the country. So this heat ridge is also what's steering our tropical disturbance right now. That's why it's pushing off to the west. The center of the ridge is over the eastern United States right now, and that's why it's going to be so hot this weekend for areas from like Charlotte, where they could be flirting with the triple digits for multiple days. It's quite rare for areas around North Carolina. Eventually, that high pressure does get a bit stronger, tries to build in as we go through next week, get stronger here in New Orleans by Sunday and Monday. Notice the strength of that ridge also increases, and that is a signature for a heat wave. So a lot of areas across the deep south are going to be, and not even the deep south, up into the Midwest, over towards Salt Lake. This is next Tuesday. We've got a big heat wave developing across a large part of the country. So that's what's happening here closer to home. Let's talk about what could be happening out in the Atlantic as we inch closer and closer to August here and get closer and closer to the peak of hurricane season. Now, we don't really go far out beyond a week with the tropics, but we look at long-term signals and how things are evolving. And one thing we've noticed the past 24 hours or so is that models are starting to perk up. And there's probably a couple of reasons for that. So here we're going to talk about why they're perking up and also some things that could be problematic for something trying to form out here in the long term. So where we stand on this Friday, there's absolutely not much happening at all. We do have about 4 or 5 tropical waves lined up through the Atlantic basin. These are fairly inactive tropical waves. Right now there's a tropical wave. I'm going to highlight them here for you to show you exactly where they are. Right now, these tropical waves are what we call inactive, or they're dry, and they're likely going to remain that way for the week or so. So we've got a tropical wave in here. We've got a tropical wave in here with some isolated showers, and then there is a more active wave that's approaching the Lesser Antilles here, and that's going to bring in some rain, but the wind shear and dry air are going to keep that in check. They're also going to keep these areas in check for the time being. Now, what's happening here is we're dealing with a monsoon trough, or the intertropical convergence zone. So that is the area just north of the equator where your trade winds meet. You've got trade winds coming and meeting at the equator, or just north of it in this case, and you get an enhanced area of lift, showers and storms form. So that's why you've got this area of showers and some clouds just north of the equator. Very common this time of year. Now, at the moment, the atmosphere is fairly suppressed over the Atlantic. It's not hospitable to showers and storms, therefore it's really not hospitable to tropical development. It does look like that will start to at least try to transition as we head into maybe the first week of August or later next week by this time, so 7 to 10 days from now. I think this part of the basin is going to start to become more active with showers and storms, and in turn there will be a better chance for maybe something trying to spin off. So what models are looking at right now, and why models have been perking up, is because they're seeing this monsoon trough or area of showers and storms, and they're also seeing a fairly decent tropical wave moving out of the continent of Africa and interacting with that trough, that monsoon trough. And those two features together, you can get storms that spin up off of it. And so that's what models are seeing right now. Now, the exact details like time, location, that's a very hard thing to pinpoint when you're tracking something that's 7, 10 days away from even maybe materializing. And so that's why models have been picking up with maybe something trying to form way out there in the next 7, 10, even 14 days. You can see we've got a long time to watch how this evolves. So again, the main thing working against the Atlantic right now is really are two things. You've got dry air, but you've got an incredible amount of stability that have been keeping things on the quiet side. And so you can see there, we've been getting these injections of dry air into the Atlantic. We've been getting every now and then these little tropical features with some moisture, but they haven't been able to survive thanks to the dry air and the wind shear. Now, what changes later next week in about 7 days, I want you to follow. This is the corridor we're watching right now. Notice it's very dry with some wind shear. Watch this big plume of moisture here. That's our tropical wave that's going to be moving off the continent of Africa here in the next several days. Watch as that moves out, and it moistens up the atmosphere some across the basin. So that's the first thing to actually create a more hospitable area for a tropical system to form. It also is interacting, this is the corridor we'll be watching next week, it also is interacting with that monsoon trough. And so that's why models are picking up here and saying, wait a minute, we've got moisture, we've got a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, we have showers and storms and less dry air, so maybe something actually tries to form there. Now again, this is about 5 to 7 days from now, and we're talking out in the heart of the middle of the Atlantic. So this is not a near-term threat to absolutely anybody. Now, the Caribbean islands want to watch this a little bit closer, but here in the United States, when something is this far out, it's sometimes 10 to even 14 days away. It can take that long for something this far out to actually even get close to the United States. And so that's why models are perking up here in the long term. And you can see this model I'm showing you here is the GFS American model. It does show a consolidation of showers and storms with that tropical wave in conjunction with the monsoon trough and them teaming up and something trying to spin up here. And if you can actually get something trying to spin up, protect itself from the dry air, it can survive. And notice by next Friday, it does show the potential for maybe a healthy tropical wave, or who knows, a tropical system trying to approach the Lesser Antilles Islands there. There's Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, the Bahamas, and Turks and Caicos are out here. And so just again, showing you how far out this is. A week from today. And so that'll really be the one thing we're going to be watching in the long term as we go through next week. Now, there are several models that are kind of picking up on this and saying that the atmosphere does look more conducive for maybe tropical development later next week. I'm showing you the GFS and Euro in combination here to show you that they do both pick up on this, at least in the long term. So watch what happens in the near term. Saturday, tomorrow, Sunday, you can see how nothing ever really gets its footing. You just got these little blobs of showers and storms. But wait a minute, as we get into next Wednesday and Thursday, here comes that tropical wave off the continent of Africa, interacting with that monsoon trough, and you start to see some pieces of vorticity or spin break off from that trough, and that's what models are thinking could try to develop. Now, every single year, models do depict this, especially this time of year, and it's really hard to determine how they play out. Sometimes models don't handle it really that well, and so just take all this with a grain of salt. But overall, I do see a scenario where we could actually see something trying to form out here by the end of next week. So far, the Atlantic, again, it's not been very hospitable. Not only have we been dealing with dry air, we've been dealing with stability issues or lack of instability. And this could actually end up being a problem throughout the rest of the season. We'll see. Now, what that means when we're talking about stability, we're talking about an atmosphere that doesn't want showers and storms to form. And when you don't have showers and storms, you're just not going to get a tropical system. You can really tell what the stability looks like by looking at the sea surface temperature anomaly, or how the sea surface temperature compares to normal. One thing that jumps off the map here is that the main development region in here, the deep tropics, are running about normal. We'll say they've actually been playing catch up over the past couple of weeks, but the northern Atlantic and the subtropics, even further north, have been running warmer than normal. And whenever you have warmer water up here, it creates a stability issue, which means the atmosphere down here is more stable. It's not as robust. You don't have showers and storms forming. And so this is a factor on why it's been so quiet out here so far. Now, perhaps this helps squash some of that activity next week, but I think this is one of the limiting factors in the near term. We'll see how the season evolves, but right now, that has certainly been an issue for anything trying to form out here, dry air and stability. We'll see what that means long term for the rest of the season. Now, water temperatures have been heating up. They are getting to the point where they are hospitable, but it's always more than about the water temperatures. The water temperatures is one little factor in the whole ball game of stability. You're talking about dry air, all these different factors that go into forecasting the tropics. So that's where we stand right now. All that to say is nothing's going to happen, at least in the immediate future, nothing at least major. We've got our little tropical disturbance moving into Texas with some rain. Elsewhere, things are going to be fairly quiet. And so just a reminder, we're going to be doing our tropical weather impacts the rest of this season. I do them right here on WWL Plus. Maybe you're watching me on YouTube. WWL Plus is free on all of your smart TVs. This airs every single day, where we really dive into detail on what's happening in the tropics. Not able to do this in a regular newscast, just don't have enough time. So we do want to thank you so much for joining me here every single day. Again, these are Monday through Friday right here on WWL Plus and also on YouTube. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We'll be tracking that tropical feature into next week way out there in the deep tropics. But for now, have a great weekend.